Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, let's picture this because I think it's something you've probably run into. You're in a disagreement, right? Maybe it's work, maybe a policy thing, maybe just, I don't know, a tense chat at home. What's the first thing you want to do?
You want to talk.
Exactly. Talk more, defend your side, list all the reasons you're right. It's this urge.
It's almost a reflex, isn't it? The standard way we handle confrontation, like we're in court, and the best closing argument wins.
Yeah, but here's the thing we're digging into today based on our sources. It's this paradox.
Yeah.
The more you push, the more you talk sometimes, the less the other person actually hears.
The communication just shuts down. Volume up, listening off.
So we're diving into this really interesting philosophical dialogue today. It's about the art of listening to win complete trust. And it basically flips that whole idea on its head.
Our mission really is to explore this almost radical idea.
Hmm.
The power you can get by strategically stepping back, choosing silence when every instinct tells you to speak up.
Especially when you feel most attacked or misunderstood.
Right. And the source material really poses this core question, which feels pretty counterintuitive at first. What if the real way to win, not just the argument, but the relationship, the trust, isn't about crafting the perfect response?
What if it's about stopping? Just stopping.
Yeah.
And
Sincerely listening.
okay, but I know what you're thinking right now because the source brings this up immediately. The fear is, well, if I just shut up and let them talk, won't they think I'm weak, like I've given up or I don't have a good answer?
And that's where this source draws a really key distinction. It separates just, talking a lot from what it calls true wisdom, kongoan.
Kongoan.
Right. And it's not about winning debating points. It's about something deeper, winning people's trust. The goal is namdeklongoi.
Capturing hearts, basically,
Yeah.
or securing loyalty.
Essentially, yes. Building that connection. And the source argues you build that trust because you listen, not because you out-talk everyone.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Because if this idea holds water, we need some proof, right? Some real-world examples where this actually works, maybe even when it seems like it shouldn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the sources give us two really compelling anecdotes. They show how this strategic silence, this yielding the floor, can turn what looks like weakness into, well, significant strength.
These aren't just theories then, real situations, real outcomes.
Exactly. Let's start with a pretty famous one from the business world, the story people call the mute salesman.
Okay.
So you have this representative from a major car company. He's got this absolutely crucial presentation lined up. Big deal. Board members, the chairman, everyone's there.
High pressure.
Immense. And then moments before he's supposed to start, disaster strikes. Whether it's stress, illness, whatever, he completely loses his voice. Can't speak a word.
Now, just nothing.
Mute. Imagine the panic. The whole deal's on the line, the spotlight's on him, and he's got silence. All he can do is scribble a quick note, an apology to the executives.
Okay, so what happens? Does he just fail?
Well, this is where it gets fascinating. This is the power of that vacuum, that silence. Because he couldn't present, the chairman of the board, the key decision maker, actually steps in.
The
The chairman himself. He starts presenting the product for the representative. He talks about how good it is, praises its features, basically makes the case for the salesman.
No way. So the person he needed to convince becomes his salesperson?
Precisely. He became the ultimate advocate.
Yeah.
And the result, the salesman, the one who couldn't speak, landed the biggest contract of his entire career.
That's incredible. How does that even work psychologically?
Well, think about it. His forced silence created this empty space, an advocacy void. And when someone influential like the chairman steps into that void, they take ownership.
Okay.
He wasn't just listening to a pitch anymore. He was articulating his reasons, his belief in the product. It became personal for him. The salesman's inability to speak wasn't a weakness in the end. It was the catalyst for the strongest possible endorsement.
External, high level, and genuinely invested.
Exactly. It transformed the whole dynamic.
Okay, but I have to push back a bit here. That sounds like a specific high-stakes scenario. Maybe it works when there's a chairman involved. But for, a regular person in a regular argument, wouldn't complete silence just look like you don't know what you're talking about? Or you're unprepared?
That's a really fair point. And yes, if the silence is just passive, empty, maybe.
Yeah.
We're talking about active silence here, strategic listening. The kind that signals you're actually paying attention, not just waiting for your turn to talk.
Okay.
The source uses the mute salesman as kind of an extreme illustration, but the underlying principle is universal. When you stop fighting so hard to make your own case, you create an opening, an opening for the other person to potentially see the value, maybe even become part of the solution themselves.
Which leads us nicely into the second story, right? Because this isn't just about boardrooms and sales deals.
Not at all. This principle works profoundly in personal relationships, too, especially where maybe communication patterns have become really negative.
So moving from the boardroom to the living room.
Exactly. This anecdote is about a mother and daughter. Their relationship was stuck in this really difficult cycle. Constant tension.
How so?
The mother's go-to response whenever the daughter messed up or did something she didn't approve of was immediate criticism. Pressure, lectures, you know the pattern.
Yeah, I can imagine. And the daughter.
Predictably, she'd either shut down completely or push back hard. Defensiveness, anger, the connection just eroded over time.
Okay, so where does the silence come in?
The turning point came when the mother made a conscious decision to try this different approach. Instead of launching into the usual criticism after some incident, she stopped herself, took a breath.
Hard to do.
Very hard. And she simply asked, genuinely, without accusation, why did you do that? And then, this is the crucial part, she just listened. No interrupting, no correcting, just listened.
So the shift wasn't just the question, but the listening after the question.
Yeah. Precisely. The tone, the genuine curiosity, the lack of immediate attack. The daughter sensed something was different.
Yeah.
This wasn't the usual setup for a fight.
And what happened?
She felt safe. For maybe the first time in a long time, she felt safe enough to actually open up to bake, as the source puts it, to really express herself fully. She talked about her teenage struggles, the pressures she was feeling, without fearing that immediate judgment.
Wow. And the outcome?
The tension just dissolved almost instantly. Their relationship started to warm up again, become collaborative. Why? Because listening achieved what all the talking, scolding, and arguing never could.
The mother's silence showed she valued understanding her daughter more than she valued being right in that moment.
Exactly. It communicated respect in a way words couldn't. Which brings us perfectly to the next part. Why? Why does this work?
Right. We've seen these powerful outcomes. Now let's decode the why. What's the actual human mechanism at play here? Why is listening, simple listening, so powerful?
Well, the source digs into human nature here, and it points to something pretty fundamental, something universal. Humans have this deep, deep craving.
A craving for what?
To be recognized.
Yeah.
To be truly understood. To feel like someone actually sees our perspective, even if they don't agree with it. That need, it's incredibly powerful.
So it's not even necessarily about needing agreement. It's about acknowledgement, validation that our viewpoint, our feeling, is heard.
That's a huge part of it. When you give someone the space to fully express themselves, no interruptions, no quick judgments, you're essentially giving them a gift.
A gift?
Yeah, the gift of your attention, your focused presence. In today's world, that's incredibly valuable. You're signaling. Your thoughts matter enough for me to pause my own.
And that act of giving, of showing respect through listening, changes the whole energy, doesn't it?
Completely. It shifts the dynamic away from adversarial conflict towards something more like cooperation. Once someone feels genuinely heard and respected, their defense is naturally lower.
And they become more willing to listen back.
Exactly. It's reciprocity. You earn the right to be heard by offering your ear first. It builds a foundation of mutual respect.
Makes sense.
And the source actually brings in some supporting wisdom here from La Rochefoucauld, the 17th century writer.
Yeah.
It speaks directly to this idea of how we position ourselves in conversations.
Oh, interesting. What does he say?
The quote is pretty stark. It goes, "To have enemies, exalt yourself. To have friends, place yourself lower than them."
Wow. Okay, exalt yourself. How does that relate to arguing?
Well, think about what happens in a heated discussion. When you're constantly interrupting, correcting, talking over the other person, what are you doing? You're basically saying, my ideas are more important, I know better, listen to me. You're exalting yourself.
You're positioning yourself as superior.
Right. And how does the other person feel? Like an opponent.
Yeah.
You're literally, according to La Rochefoucauld, creating an enemy by trying too hard to win the verbal battle.
Okay, so the flip side is place yourself lower. How does listening do that?
By consciously choosing to yield the floor, to focus intently on their words, instead of planning your next attack, you're demonstrating humility. You're signaling respect for their perspective. You're metaphorically placing yourself lower, not in status, but in terms of conversational dominance.
So you're building a bridge, not a wall.
Precisely. That choice to exalt or to yield is fundamental. It's the difference, really, between a destructive argument and potentially constructive dialogue.
And this leads to how the source defines wise confrontation, right? That kongon ki gap do. It's not about winning the point tally.
No, it's about making that conscious, strategic choice. The choice to yield, to listen first. It's not weakness. It's a disciplined strategy.
So for you listening, when you feel that heat rising, that urge to jump in,
Yeah.
what does this look like practically? The source gives us essentially three key actions, three things to consciously do, or rather not do.
Okay, first directive. Do not interrupt. Simple, but incredibly hard. Dum cheng nang. Let them finish. Even if you think you know where they're going, even if you're burning to correct a fact, let them complete the thought.
Okay, don't interrupt. What's second?
Second, don't focus solely on proving yourself right while they are talking. Don't go to Ming. Let go of that immediate need to counter every point as it's made. Just absorb first.
Release the need for that instant rebuttal. Got it. And third.
Third, and this sort of encompasses the others, simply allow the other person to speak. Haidangir kakdak noi. Give them the floor. Let them get it all out, the frustration, the reasoning, the emotion. Let them empty their cup, so to speak.
It sounds simple on paper, but man, that takes serious emotional discipline. Our instincts scream at us to defend, especially if we feel wrongly accused or misunderstood.
It really does. And that's why the source highlights just how rare this skill is. We admire eloquence, sure, the ability to speak well. But knowing when to be silent, strategically silent, at precisely the right moment, that's even rarer.
Because the moment you interrupt,
You signal that your need to speak outweighs their need to be heard. And boom, trust is damaged. Connection is lost. Any chance of genuinely influencing them might just evaporate.
and that's the real cost, isn't it? The source argues that when you make that hard choice, when you yield the conversation temporarily, you don't actually lose ground.
Not at all. You gain something far more precious than just winning a point. You gain trust. You gain respect. Timruk long tin va sutun trong.
And that trust, that respect, that's the currency you need later.
Absolutely. Once they feel truly heard, once they've had their say and feel validated, their defensiveness often drops. They become receptive. You've essentially earned the right to share your perspective by first honoring theirs.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, let's bring it back to that core message, the final word from the teacher in the source material. It really sums it all up.
Yeah, it's powerful. Show yourself superior and people will become your enemies. Know how to yield and people will become your friends.
Simple, direct, and challenging.
It's the essence of it. True wisdom in conflict, kanongoan, isn't about scoring points in the debate. It's about winning a connection in the heart of the other person.
You capture their trust, and you capture their attention, their willingness to work with you.
Which ultimately is usually the real goal anyway.
So we've explored how sometimes the hardest thing to do, saying nothing, might actually be the most powerful move you can make.
So, based on all this, here's a thought to leave you with. Think about a disagreement you have, maybe one that keeps cropping up, where you argue the same points over and over.
Okay.
Which one of those situations might need more than just careful listening? Which one might actually call for that radical strategic choice of complete silence? Like the mute salesman. What kind of deal or maybe what kind of relationship repair is waiting on the other side of you, deciding to stop talking and just let the other person fill that space?
What might be won, not by speaking, but by yielding. Something to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us today.